I'm Sander Tamaëla. I'm having Joost de Valk and Bastian Grimm right here. We're going to talk about WordPress, SEO and security. That's the topic of their session later this day. Please give me a brief introduction of yourself, Joost.
Joost de Valk. I run a company called Yoast, so everyone knows how to pronounce my name. We're a growing WordPress company with 12 people now, building WordPress plugins, themes, etc., and doing consulting on the side.
Right. I'm Bastian. I run a performance marketing agency which is based in Berlin. That's why I have that bad accent. It's German, sorry for that. We are like 20 years right now and mainly do SEO as well as PPC and, well, obviously a bit of WordPress as well.
Okay, and your session is about WordPress SEO. Joost is covering the SEO part and Bastian is covering the security part. Can you walk me through your session?
I'll be talking about we've obviously, we develop a plugin called WordPress SEO, so I'll talk a bit about what we've been doing in there and some of the troubles that we've seen people have in recent months with all the various Google updates and the changes Google has been making in terms of schema and author highlights in the search results and how people are having trouble getting those to show or getting, well, basically anything to show. So I'll be going through that. It's fun times. It seems like on large sites like mine, it's very easy to get everything going very easily, but on small-time blogs, it's all these nice features that Google has rolled out seem to be, well, basically out of sight. So we'll talk about what you can do about that and how.
That's one of my main concerns right now with WordPress and SEO. If SEO tends to be a one-click install of WordPress SEO, how do you keep ahead?
You don't, really. That's the issue. And the funny thing is, in our upcoming version, we'll actually be changing a lot of our default settings. But we'll probably build in some stuff to educate people who already have settings from years ago as to look into, okay, so what should your settings be? Because people don't tend to overthink those, and they should. So there's special stuff like, well, author highlights is a good example where Google's basically shown that they only want to see those on posts.
Not on the root.
and not on home pages, not on other pages. So we're removing a lot of those things that seemed like a good idea a year or two ago. And we're now replacing those defaults, but people that already have the plugin running will still need to change their settings.
So you're taking people away from that spammy border that's coming closer.
Well, yeah, we talk more and more to people at Google, especially on the author highlight part, as to, okay, what would be a good default for people to have, and that basically boils down to just showing them on posts and nowhere else. So Google's becoming a bit clearer about how they want things, which is good in a way, and we're trying to well, make our software do the work, the hard work.
And the same goes for video and other schema markups.
Well, schema is a slightly different story in that basically Google only shows schema or rich snippets as the result of schema markup for sites that they trust. So I'm getting more and more emails from affiliates that say, "Hey, all my rich snippets have gone." I'm like, "Yeah, well,
I've checked the box and I'm missing the."
Yeah, I can see that it's all there. You've done the work right, but Google just doesn't trust your site, and it's not going to show the rich snippets unless you get some good links. And sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't.
And looking further than that, how do you think there's business in WordPress SEO in educating people to do the right content stuff, or is it just, because I think that's the main problem. You've been working with those lights, the red, the orange and the green light.
Yeah, we try to educate people. It's getting, we've got a few more features up our sleeve there to do more of that stuff, especially because well, that's about 90% of the SEO and all the technical stuff.
So content-based analysis and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so the only issue is that people don't, teaching people to do keyword research, which is the basis of all of that, is still the hardest part of our job.
Yeah.
So, and I have yet to find a way to properly automate that, especially in languages other than English.
And then if you try to educate them, then they try to game the algorithm you've developed.
Yeah, they always, people, especially small business,
shortcuts.
They want shortcuts, and they think, well, if I can optimize for plumber Amsterdam, I can also optimize for plumber in every city in the neighborhood, and that doesn't really work anymore.
Okay.
So it's getting harder and harder, especially to tell people not to spam.
Yeah.
And from the WordPress SEO plugin, there just talked to Sebastian about the security risk. There are involved with having plugins with admin rights. Can you give us
that's
update
probably
about
one
it?
of the issues. Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the fact that people just, as you said, I have to move, I guess. All right. So that it starts with the fact that people just install things out of the box, which is okay. But the thing is, if you're not doing configuration things right, start with setup and then protect what you've done. Basically, you are in trouble. I mean, there's a massive amount of sites that get hacked basically on a daily basis, right?
Being hacked and exploited.
Exploited and then being used to plant links, malware, whatever that is, and it can get you into like really legal troubles if you're not noticed that, or if you're like kind of a distributor of malware, and then that's, I mean, and that also costs you all your kind of the efforts you have basically put in the SEO work. So because you're losing the rankings, you're losing the traffic, right? So yeah, that's what I'm going to be trying to outline a bit on what you kind of need to do to at least prevent the most of it.
Okay, because I've seen in Germany, I've seen this the last couple of years, sites being hacked and even complete e-commerce sites being injected into WordPress. I think the Netherlands is a bit behind. I've seen some the past year, but what do you see any trends in the hacks? Is it all automation, or are there guys from India trying to do the manual hacking, or?
Well, it's not India, it's China.
It's China. That's one.
And it's mostly automated.
It's I would say 90 to 95% from what I'm seeing is automated requests.
So large scale hacking.
And I think, I mean, the good thing though is that, I mean, there's not 100% security, but what you could do is you could prevent probably like 98% of it if you do the right things. And you know, again, then the adoption rate is very, very high. We took a sample of, you know, sites we've been working on the last 3 years, 500, that as a baseline, and we saw 92% of those sites that have been compromised. The issue was they just haven't updated their stuff. So outdated components is the biggest issue, and it's very, very simple to fix. But yeah, other than that, there's a lot of things around well, trying to, well, give people a hint on how to fix that. Okay,
and if you can give just one tip to everyone about setting up alerts, so if you're being hacked, then you get noticed or something. Could you just give me one?
So I tried to break my presentation down to 3 actually. So I said the one thing is obviously updates, and there's a lot of things around updates that you can automate and that you can get, you know, information on that you need to update. Actually, even WordPress with, you know, building in the new kind of thing that does auto updates to an extent if you want to or not. I think it's a good move. Not going to argue on that. But the other thing obviously is you kind of need to know when things happen. So monitoring is probably the other thing. Even though it's too late then. So there's tools like so what's a WP antivirus, which kind of scans themes and sends emails. But again, then it's too late. And what I want to do in the session is to kind of show people what they need to do up front, basically, to prevent that from happening, because that's the biggest issue. I mean,
okay.
We do a lot of site reviews, and the funny thing is that every time. I think about 1 in 50 of the WordPress sites the people send to us for review. Yeah, we've lost all our rankings, and we log in, and the first thing we see is that it's hacked. And you're like, okay, your site's been hacked. Here's where you get to clean it up. We won't do the review. Just wait for the recovery first, because you'll have to just go into Good Webmaster Tools doing re-inclusion. Yeah. It's a whole lot of hassle. But it's also that people don't realize that the site's been hacked for months. Yeah, because the hack's actually getting smarter. That's the thing. I mean, they do so much
like cloaking,
like cloaking and then referrer-based cloaking and things like that. So if you would, you know, go directly to a site, you wouldn't even see that the thing is distributing stuff. But if you would come through the switch results, then they just, you know, start delivering the malware things. So that's really
I've seen it happening at a bank.
Yeah,
a couple of months ago, in a large bank in the Netherlands that's been hacked that way.
Yeah,
So
I've seen the same for Facebook, by the way, which is really funny. Where if you're logged in, it would show you the normal site. If you come from Google, it would show you the normal site. But if you came from Facebook, it would redirect you elsewhere. And it's pretty hard for people to figure out how to fix that.
I can understand. Okay, to wrap it up, Joost, just one or two tips that we can.
Well, if you install any WordPress SEO plugin, go through the settings and make sure that you know what each setting means and what it does to your site, and then actually make a choice. Don't always stick with the defaults. It's incredibly hard as a developer to get defaults that are right for all the
every
sites.
kind of site.
Yeah, we have our SEO plugin running on 2.5 million websites. If I can't come up with defaults that work for all of those.
Okay, so think and don't expect rankings to magically appear when installing a plugin.
It's not magic, it's work.
Okay. Well, I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.